All right, so good afternoon. I'm going to share my screen. Just want to show you a change that I've made. You might have noticed it already this weekend if you were on. I added a videos folder here to your class. This will include any videos we watch. Obviously, whatever is in gray is not up for you to see yet. But actually, today I'm going to publish these because these are the videos we're going to watch. They're short clips. Um, so we're going to watch a video, the CNS, and something you could do to help with. You'll see. It talks about the spine. It talks about something called subluxation, and we'll get into that. And then we're going to do a little fun little brain tricks thing, and you'll learn about your brain and how there's kind of like a fast brain and a slow brain, and it'll go through that, and you'll kind of start thinking about yourself. And it actually it's interactive, so it has you kind of watch it and do what it asks you to do. It's pretty cool. And first time I watched it, I was like, oh crap, I didn't know that. Another thing we're going to do is we're going to review Thursday's assignment. Now, Thursday and Friday were both snow days. If you ever get a phone call or message on Schoology or something like we did Thursday and Friday saying that it was a snow day, but it was an asynchronous day. Asynchronous just means that we don't have a live Zoom like we're doing right now. You don't follow a certain schedule. It just means what you guys did during the first marking period. It does not mean that you have nothing to do, right? Also on those days, especially snow days like that, right? Teachers have like their kids home. You guys probably have a lot of stuff going on. You might have your siblings, you might have your parents, you might have to help out. And so I try and not give a ton of stuff to do, but also at the same time, I am a teacher and I do have to follow certain guidelines and make sure that I have stuff completed for you to do. So Thursday's assignment was kind of, there was like a reading information piece to it, and also some questions that I had you guys answer, correct? So having said that, we're going to review that, but we're going to do it a little differently, in which I'm going to have you guys in groups where I'll put you guys in breakout rooms. Now, I haven't done that in a while. And if you guys recall, the last time I tried doing that, some of my classes and many of the groups in each of my classes, I had trouble with participation, where I would jump into those classes or those little groups and I would hear nothing, I would see nothing, and it would just be silence. And so I'm not looking for that. Okay. So last time, that's kind of why we didn't do that in a while. Last period, though, we tried it. I'm going to be honest with you guys. It did not go well at first. And I was getting a little upset. But second chances are important. High school is a time for learning. And I allowed, we had a little talk. I brought them back, sent them back out, and it went very well, actually. So I'm just kind of telling you kind of what happened last period, just to kind of give you a heads up, maybe help you guys out in the fact that you are going to be in situations in your life where you have to talk to people. And by talk, I don't mean clicking the chat button and typing. I mean literally unmuting yourself and speaking. All right. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't feel comfortable, but it's something I want us to get used to, especially because maybe once it starts getting warmer out, maybe more of you will be coming in. And who knows? And we'll be able to do more group work, even though we'll still be socially distanced, but still, it's important to start getting out of your comfort zone a little bit so that you can feel comfortable eventually. I know it sounds funny. All right, so let's share my screen and we are going to watch this short, like 3-minute video talking about the CNS and what happens there. Not so much the brain, but more so the impulses traveling.
Did you know that the most important part of your entire body is your central nervous system? Your central nervous system, also known as the master system, is made up of your brain and your spinal cord, and it controls every single function in your entire body. In fact, your central nervous system is so important that it's the only body part that is totally encased in bone for its protection. Starting at the top is your brain. And your brain is the central processing unit of your body, and it coordinates and computes all the electrical signals that are sent throughout your nervous system and your entire body. So from your brain, electrical impulses or signals are sent down your spinal cord and travel all the way to the base of your spine. And branching off of your spinal cord are these fine thread-like structures called spinal nerves, and they exit between the vertebrae of the spinal column to supply all your muscles, cells, and organs And from there, the electrical impulses are sent back up to the brain in a feedback loop. And at every level in your spine, the exiting spinal nerves supply specific muscles and organs. For instance, starting from your lower back, these spinal nerves supply such structures as your legs, reproductive organs, bladder, kidneys, and colon. As we move up the spine to the upper back or thoracic spine, the exiting spinal nerves supply such organs as your liver, stomach, heart, and lungs. Moving up further to your neck, these nerves supply such structures as your eyes, ears, throat, and arms. Now, in a healthy spine, your spinal bones or vertebrae are in proper alignment, and the cushioning or shock absorbers between the vertebrae, called intervertebral discs, are thick and healthy. As such, correct spinal movement is possible, and the spinal nerves are able to freely exit the spine, sending nerve impulses from the brain to the targeted muscles and organs without any interference. However, from poor posture, falls, a car accident, or some other injury, your vertebrae can become misaligned. This misalignment is what chiropractors call vertebral subluxation complex, or just subluxation. When a subluxation occurs, your vertebrae can then press on these existing spinal nerves and interfere and block these nerve impulses. When this happens, nerve damage begins and your body starts to dysfunction. Although potentially painless at first, symptoms can develop rapidly. And when a subluxation is left untreated, your spine begins to decay. Your discs begin to thin and wear down, and your vertebrae start to deform and degenerate, leading to the development of these spurs or osteophytes, which then further compresses and damages your nerves. So when a subluxation occurs in your lower back, it can cause back pain, sciatica, bladder weakness, irritable bowel syndrome, and erectile dysfunction. A subluxation in your upper back can cause respiratory problems, digestive problems, and decreased energy levels. And subluxations in your neck can cause headaches, dizziness, tinnitus, carpal tunnel syndrome, numbness, tingling, and weakness to one or both of your arms. Fortunately, chiropractic can help. In fact, chiropractors are the only healthcare professionals that are specifically and adequately trained to detect and correct vertebral subluxations. And through a series of precise chiropractic adjustments, your chiropractor will restore your spine's proper alignment, remove nerve interference, and return your body to its optimal health. And it's important to note, your body has the ability to heal itself, so long as there is no interference. So, having a healthy spine is not just about removing pain and symptoms, but achieving your body's maximum health potential.
Okay, so just a little anecdote, right? I always get really bad headaches all the time. Not all the time, but I always notice it when I'm like tight or like I just worked out and the next day maybe like I'm not feeling well or my neck hurts. And I put it together, right? When my neck hurts, and it's usually in this area here, and this is where I carry a lot of our stress. Sometimes a lot of people, when they get stressed, they kind of start like tense up a little bit. And in the cold too, when you're cold and you're outside, usually you kind of tense up your muscles up here and you kind of hold it because you're cold. A lot of times when you do that, you can tense your muscle, you can have a subluxation. And what happens is sometimes your neck can get misaligned. I'm not saying chiropractor is the best thing to do all the time for every single thing. That's not always the case. Sometimes stretching can help. Sometimes, warm bath, hot shower, whatever. But every time that happens and every time my neck hurts, my head hurts. And then whenever I'm able to either, massage it out or go to the chiropractor or, stretch, take a hot shower, whatever it is, I always feel better. And so it's definitely directly related there. It's always directly related. Okay, so the next video, all right, this next video, you're gonna watch it. It's an interactive video. So it's gonna actually ask you to kind of go with it. There might be one part where it tells you to say it out loud. Obviously, if you're home, you can do that. If you're here, just do it in your head. All right, and then you're just gonna go with it and kind of see what happens at the end, and it's pretty cool. All right, brain tricks. Here we go.
You may not realize it, but your brain actually processes information in two very distinct ways. Like when you look at this photo, you instantly know she has blonde hair, is visibly angry, and likely has some choice words to yell. Without any effort, you experienced fast thinking. But if you look at the following problem, something different happens. Sure, you immediately know it's a multiplication problem, and you knew you could solve it if you had the energy, but didn't. If you do try, your muscles will tense, your pupils will dilate, and your heart rate will increase. Now, you've experienced slow thinking. These two systems of fast and slow thinking dictate much of our perception and reaction in life. Take these lines, for example. It's clear that they're different lengths, but if you measure them, they're actually the exact same length. Even now that you know, System 1, or your fast thinking, can't stop seeing the illusion because it acts automatically. A similar effect is seen here. Which figure is the largest? Again, they're all the same size, but the suggestion of perspective and depth causes your System 1 to interpret the picture as three-dimensional, even though it's on a flat two-dimensional surface. It's making quick work of the available information, and so your conscious System 2, or slow thinking, must compensate after the fact and choose not to believe your intuition or instinct. Want to see your System 2 in action? I'll show you a string of 4 digits, you read them aloud, then add 1 to each of the original digits. If the card reads 3795, the correct response would be 4806. We'll then go to the next card and you'll do the same, followed by the next card. Ready? Go. Few people can cope with more than 4 digits, but even harder is add 3. The interesting bit is that though your pupils would have dilated, you often become effectively blind when you fully engage System 2. Did you notice the color of the text change? Or how about the fact that the numbers completely changed when I put them off to the side? Listen to the following puzzle. A bat and a ball cost $1.10. The bat costs $1 more than the ball. How much does the ball cost? Chances are your System 1 intuition was yelling 10 cents, but this appealing System 1 answer we know is wrong. In fact, the correct answer is 5 cents. Even if you worked out the correct answer, you likely thought of 10 cents along the way. System 1 is trying to work out an answer as quickly and seamlessly as possible, which is extremely beneficial in everyday life. If every activity required full mental effort, it would be exhausting. But knowing this allows us to understand that not all of our first impressions are correct. How many animals of each kind did Moses take into the ark? So few people detect what is wrong with this question that it's been dubbed the Moses illusion. In fact, Moses took no animals, Noah did. Again, our brain invests as little resources as necessary so that things run quickly and smoothly. Because Moses is not abnormal in the biblical context, System 1 unconsciously detects an association between Moses and ark and quickly accepts the question. In a similar way, System 1 generates context without you knowing. Reading each of the following may seem fairly simple. A, B, C, Anne approached the bank, and 12, 13, 14. But your brain actually interpreted these ambiguous statements without you ever knowing. You could have read it as A, 13C, or 12, B, 14, but your brain created the context unconsciously. Also, you likely imagined a woman with money on her mind walking towards a building with tellers, but if the sentence before this was, they were floating gently down the river, the entire scene would have changed because bank is no longer associated with money. Without an explicit context, System 1 quickly generates one based on previous experience. In this case, you've likely visited more banks than rivers, and so the context is resolved accordingly. This ties into a concept called priming. For example, if I said wash, how would you complete this word fragment? Most would see soap, but had I just shown you the word eat, you'd be more likely to see soup. In this way, both eat and wash prime your thoughts. Though System 2 likes to think that it's in charge and knows what's going on, the truth is that priming effects have even been shown to affect and modify behavior. These arise in System 1, and you have no conscious access to them. If you'd like to learn more about the thinking systems in your brain, check out.
All right, I hope that was kind of cool for some of you guys. And you can go back to that video and fast forward through, and you'll see that the numbers actually do change when you move it over, and the colors do change. And I remember I was like, "What? That's not true," and I had to go back and I rewinded it, and it was true. Okay, so now we're at the part where I'm going to put you guys in groups of 2 or 3. Okay, I'm going to put you guys in separate breakout groups. You are going to open the assignment from last class. If you forgot what I'm talking about, not there. So it's in this folder, and it's 218 asynchronous assignment. Here's the thing. If you did not complete this assignment yet, now's a good chance to kind of sit with your partners, whoever you're with, maybe try and see if you can get a couple of the answers. You're not going to get full credit because we're going over answers today. But it's a good way to actually get some notes down, maybe write some stuff down so that after class, maybe you can go over there or go back to that assignment and fill it in fully. Another thing, some of you got your assignment sent back to you. And if you didn't read the comments, which I always say, read the comments once you get a grade back. And if you didn't get a grade back and you're like, I thought I submitted that, I'll just resubmit it. If you think you submitted it, but it's showing that you didn't, that probably means that I unsubmitted it, right? So it's important to make sure that you're looking and you're looking for comments that I write so that you can always get more credit. Let's say you got an 8 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 and you wanted a better grade. All you have to do is ask me through Schoology message to unsubmit it. I will unsubmit it and you can redo whatever you need to redo and get the better grade. Just got to let me know. Just got to chat. So this is what you're opening. And you can go to the assignment, to your specific assignment that you submitted. And that's what you guys are talking about in your groups. So what I want you to do in your groups of 2 or 3, maybe I'll have 4. You are going to go over the answers together, start with number 1 and go down, and then we'll kind of come back here and regroup and I'll answer any questions if you have any. I should not go into any of these groups and see silence or typing, okay? I know you guys like to type and chat, but let's actually unmute ourselves and have a conversation with each other, okay? It's almost March. We're nearly, halfway through almost the 3rd marking period, believe it or not. And I need you guys to start feeling a little bit, getting out of your comfort zone and being able to speak. You don't have to turn your camera on if you don't want to, but you can, okay? Are there any questions before I put you guys in your groups? All right. So when I open the room, you're going to go to the room. Once you see a 60-second countdown, you can come right back to this room and we can kind of review and wrap up. Go ahead. Okay, so not bad overall. Not bad overall. However, there were 3 groups that I was unhappy with. 2 of which I went in and no one was there, no one answered me, nothing. And then one of them, someone was giving out the answers, right? I'm not sure if maybe I misspoke or you misunderstood for some of you, but this activity was for you guys to talk to each other, right? And to kind of get the answers together, figure it out. This was not for people who did not do the assignment to get answers. Like for someone to just sit there and be like, okay, number 1 is this, number 2 is this, number 3 is this. That's not how it works. Okay, so my apologies if you misunderstood me. In going through those questions, there were a number of people who got some of those questions wrong, as and I always comment if it's wrong or if it needed more info or, if you plagiarized, which some people did go on Google and kind of plagiarize, copy the question, pasted it in Google, copied the answer, pasted it as the answer, because it's pretty simple to figure that out. All I have to do is copy your answer and paste the answer in Google under quotes, and it literally pops up. So just be careful, okay? Be careful when you're doing that. That's why I give you the reading. It's actually more work on you to do that. Just read through it and find the answer, and that way it'll help you for your test anyway, right? So based on going up, as you guys went over these questions, were there any questions that you would like me to review to the entire class right now? Any questions at all that maybe you're confused by, or I said it was wrong and you're not 100% sure, why, and you'd like me to go over it? Can you review the last one? The last question? No problem. All right. So let me get to it, sorry. All right, the last question, okay? Which hemisphere of the brain recognizes and processes words, numbers, and letters? Which hemisphere recognizes and processes faces, places, and objects? So if you remember, last class we talked about the word hemisphere, and I told you that it means the side, one side of your brain, whether it be the left side of your brain or the right side of your brain. Another term for side of your brain is hemisphere. So you have your left hemisphere and your right hemisphere. This is my left, this is my right. Okay, so you have one half and you have the other half. So hemisphere just means which half, left or right. Okay, so in finding that, now you know it's either going to be left or right. Those are your answers. So the hemisphere that recognizes and processes words, numbers, and letters is your left hemisphere. And the hemisphere that recognizes and processes faces, places, and objects is your right hemisphere. Yogi wants the first question. No problem. So this is a question that a number of people got incorrect. All right. And this is also something I talked about and I referenced. This actual example is one of the examples I gave when we first started the nervous system. Someone touches your shoulder, right? And then you turn around. What is the sequence of events that your impulses follow? So someone touches your shoulder. Touch. Touch is a what? Touch, taste, smell, sound, sight. It's a sense, right? Touch, it's a sense. That's your first answer, okay? Sensory. You know it has something to do with sensory because it senses that somebody's touching you. So now you know sensory neuron, that's the first one. So you know it's going to be within either C or D, okay? So someone touches you. In order for you to know that someone's touching you, the impulse, someone's touching you, has to get sent where? Where does it get sent to? Your brain. It has to get sent up to your brain. And now your brain has to kind of be like, okay, what am I going to do about this? So another term for your brain, CNS. CNS. Okay. So sensory goes up to your brain. Now your brain has to respond by moving your neck. Okay. And sending a signal down to the muscles in your neck. Well, how does it send a signal down to the muscles in your neck? Where does it send it through? What's the last one that's there? Motor neurons. Okay, so the correct answer is D, sensory neuron, CNS response, motor neuron. And if you guys remember when we first started talking about the peripheral nervous system and we started talking about the breakdown, remember when I made that outline in the tree? So in making that outline in the tree, I told you if you're able to go through that without looking and just the words, if you kind of eliminated the notes that you wrote, hopefully you wrote them, and you'd be able to kind of go over it without looking at anything and doing it in your head, then you're ready for the test. And that has to do with that breakdown and that outline. Okay. And if you remember, I also said, if you can come up with your own examples, remember I talked about like opening the door and walking out into the sun and then your eyes squint, what's the sequence of events, and explain it to yourself. That's another great exercise to make up these examples in your head and come up with how that works. So that would give you help. Uzbelia, yes. Okay. Any other questions that you want me to review? Okay. Are there any other questions at all in general? All right. So I have you on Wednesday next class. Next class will be a modified little win where we're going to review, where I might put you guys in individual Zooms. I might come talk to you guys. If you don't have any other questions, have a great day, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday.